That's what you guys are going to witness as my life reflects the decision that today, July 6th, 2026, I have made. So, like I said, I have been working in a profession that I have a lot of respect for, but I have absolutely no desire to be a part of, which is nursing. And since 2018, I have stayed in this profession because of fear, because of limited beliefs, because of old programming that was installed into my consciousness, into my mind, without my conscious conscious knowing, my conscious permission. It mostly happened before I was 8 years old, but it continued to happen as I allowed my reality to determine my beliefs, to determine my decisions, versus what it should be, which is my beliefs and my decisions determine my reality. Reality is a mirror. It is a mirror of our inner decisions, our inner choices. So whatever we're experiencing in our reality is a reflection of what we have allowed to take place inside of us. Consciously, unconsciously, almost certainly unconsciously. I would say probably 99% of the time it's unconscious. So today I've decided within the next 6 months, and by the way, this is the first time that I'm saying this out loud. So July, August, September, October, November, December. So by January 6, 2027, I will be living in a beautiful, absolutely beautiful barn house in the mountains on 200 acres. I will have millions of dollars already circulating into my life. And my business will be thriving on a level that I would have never expected for it to thrive at so quickly, since it only really started to be in true existence, founded in 2026. I will be healthy. I currently, I'm probably between 250 and 260 pounds. I eat fast food for pretty much every meal. I live an entirely stagnant lifestyle. I'm not exercising. I'm not active. I'm not fit. I live a life that's very stagnant, a life that's very lazy and unmotivated and passive. In the next 6 months, that will all be transformed to the point where it will not be recognizable. The person that you are looking at in this video today, on July 6, 2026, isn't going to resemble the person you're going to be looking at January 6, 2027. Physically, be it with my body will be at optimal health. It'll be at an optimal weight, an optimal fitness, eating healthy foods from the earth, not just eating preservatives and poison and food that's not even food, that is actively, just ravaging the body every single day. To my outside, further outside reality, which is I currently live in a 1,200 square foot home. I live in Kentucky now. I've lived in Kentucky since 2000, I've lived in this house since 2015. And, I own the home, which, by the way, here's another thing that I think is important for documentation purposes of this transformation. I am in debt on my home that I've owned for 10 years, 11 years. I have personal debt. My net worth is pathetic at best. And that is all a reflection of my programming and my decisions up until today. Up until today, I have lived with these passive decisions that have been programmed subconsciously by others that I have never consciously fully realized and understood, but now I do, and now I'm making that choice, and I'm making action, making this video, sharing this video, because the process of changing your reality has to do with this. One, you make a decision, a very clear, concise decision. My decision is what I said. I'm going to be, in 6 months, that's measurable, living on a 200-acre property in the mountains. That's measurable. I'm not going to say, it has to be in Tennessee, or it has to be, wherever, because that's not as important to me. It just has to be in the mountains. And it's going to be a absolutely gorgeous, I can see it in my mind's eye, an absolutely gorgeous mountain property where I'm going to have a big, beautiful barn home. I'm going to have elaborate, gorgeous infrastructure for my business, which is Von Mengelshurst German Shepherds LLC, which just formed this year, which is a dream that I've had since 2000. To breed high-level dogs. That's been my dream since 2011, 2012. And it's kind of just now coming into fruition this year, 2026. But that, I'm going to have the infrastructure, beautiful, massive, top-of-the-line enclosures and kennels for my best-in-the-world imported working line German Shepherds. My business, my dogs, my breedings are going to be the best in the world. They are going to be as good as the best breeders in Germany, Slovakia, and Czech Republic. and in many cases better. And I'm going to be spending 90% of my life enjoying the reality that I've created, which is the reality. I'm going to have millions and millions of dollars circulating to me, through me. Money will flow to me effortlessly, seemingly from everywhere, without my effort. And this will all be used to give back to others, give back to those who need it, in ways that I'm not yet even 100% sure of how that's going to look. Whether that's going to be providing dogs to veterans who need a dog for their PTSD, providing them an absolute top of the line, trained, imported working line German Shepherd to be their best friend, their savior in so many ways, their life raft in their darkest days. Whether it's that, which I think it will be that, but I think that's just one of many ways that I'll be able to give back. Providing service dogs in all forms that German Shepherds are able to, which they can do it all. Whether it's police, military, search and rescue, personal protection, therapy dogs. They do it all. So the money that I receive freely and without effort, I am able to pour back into that vein of giving, so that someone else can receive without effort what they desire, what is best for them. But I'm going to be moving from this current reality of just, of passive, lazy, just speaking of lazy, yeah, stretch it out, buddy. Just passivity, letting life decide for me what will be and what won't be, and having no motivation to even clean the car because there's no passion. There's just mediocrity and a desire for more. So going from this to what will be by January 6th. And I totally understand that almost certainly most people watching this are thinking, this chick is crazy. She's delusional. Like, a lot of people are probably going to tune in for entertainment purposes. Like, to watch this just blow up in my face, so to speak. To watch however you want to say it. I get that because for most people this is crazy and this is not possible. How can you go from this to a multi-millionaire living in a beautiful home on the top of a mountain with 200 acres in 6 months? First of all, even how do you do that? But especially from where I'm at now, I'm in debt. I don't have, my business is just starting. I'm in a profession that I don't want to be in. Nothing in my life today suggest that in 6 months I'm going to be in that position. The only thing, one and only thing that suggests that I'm going to be in that position is me saying it. That's it. And that's where the magic happens. And guess what? All of the resistance, all of the pushback is a part of that process, because somebody I've been watching a lot lately and who I recommend that you also tune into is David Bayer. He's a life coach who was in similar circumstances where he was just in debt. He had all these addictions, like life was not good. And he was studying consciousness, he was studying manifestation, he was studying how does this reality work. And one day it clicked for him, and he started to really put it into practice, and he's now worth like $50 million or more, like 10 years later. And is an incredibly influential life coach that is helping people, myself included, transform their lives just from his own life transformation, which is exactly what I am trying to document in these videos for you to watch in real time. That's the only thing that I think is different about what I'm doing and what so many people have done and will do. And I think it's, obviously, like, yes, that I want everyone to do this. But to my knowledge, and, if you guys know of other people who are doing this, then share it in the comments. Like, let's take a look. Let's share these things. But I don't know of anyone else who is actively filming from the day that they make that decision in their mind that this is actually what my reality is going to be, and it's going to shift to that in this amount of time, and this is what it's going to look like. And it's like a miraculously different reality from what the reality is right now, with no evidence physically to suggest that it's going to happen, except for me saying it'll happen, which just so happens to actually be the only thing that's needed, as far as from the perspective of somebody looking on the outside watching these videos. Now, on my end, it takes a lot more than me just saying, okay, yeah, it's going to go from this to that. Done. And now I just sit here and don't change anything and let whatever thoughts cut. No, it's not. I don't think it's going to be hard in the labor and suffer and toil, not in that sense, but hard in the sense that there's so much resistance that will come up, because today's reality is yesterday's thoughts. So the thoughts that I have been having for now, I'm 35 years old. So for the past 35 years, my thoughts have been shaping my reality. The reality that I am experiencing right now is the reflection of those thoughts. And I'm saying I'm going to transform 35 years of thoughts and reality in 6 months to something entirely different. And I don't mean I mean miraculously, what will look like miraculously different. And folks, I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't have my plan so far is 1, make the decision. 2, stay committed to the decision. Hold that vibe, hold that frequency, hold the faith, hold the trust. Do not stray from it. No matter what comes, no matter what negativity comes, no matter what pushback, no matter what resistance, no matter what externally comes and says, oh, look, this is happening. This looks not good. Oh, somebody's saying something negative. Oh, like, for example, my car has what looks like probably probably a nail in the tire. Like yesterday, I noticed that the air in one of the tires is getting low. So, it seems like every freaking few months I've got a freaking tire in a nail in one of my tires. So, it's like, oh, look at this. My bank account is currently on E, which is not anything different than normal. Like, the funny thing is I have always made a lot of money, relatively. I make good money, not like a ton of money, but I make good money. But I also spend even better money, if you will. Not the best management of money, okay? So my reality now doesn't reflect what I'm saying it will be, but it will be because I will it to be. And no matter what comes, even if, let's say I post these videos and every single comment is making fun of me. Every single comment is saying, look at this clown. Like, she's so irresponsible. She's 35 years old and she's talking like a delusional psychopath who, doesn't want to actually work hard. All the programming that the Matrix has taught us to be good little servants, good little sleepy sheep, good little slaves to the system. I mean, the Matrix itself will push back because it wants at all costs to maintain order, to maintain control, to maintain the system and the status quo. And as I begin to shift my reality to reflect my sovereignty, my control, my decision, versus what it's decided, what it's programmed, what I've allowed to just passively be my existence, yeah, it's going to push back. But that's a part of the process. And I'm sure that's where most people give up. Most people fall back into the same lifestyle of limitation and of no changes. Everything stays the same, because as soon as things start getting scary, things start not looking like what you're willing into existence, they're not looking like that, they say, okay, well, yeah, I was wrong. I'm an idiot. They were all right. I'm a clown. I'm irresponsible, and they fall into fear. They fall into limitation again. They fall into old programming. And that's where I would say the vast majority of people walk away. If they even try it in the first place. If they even get to the point where they have the consciousness to try it. They say, okay. And I understand that that's going to be hard. But it doesn't, at the same time, it really doesn't have to be, because all I have to continue to say to myself is, I have always had enough. I will always have enough. And I have enough now. And everything that happens, everything in reality is working for my highest timeline and my highest good. It's reorganizing itself for this new decision that I have made as a sovereign creator of my reality. It's reorganizing itself. It's flushing out the old limitations, the old beliefs, the old programming. It's being brought up to the surface and flushed out. So yeah, I'm going to start to see those things. I'm going to start seeing yesterday's and 35 years worth of old thoughts leaving. And that's gonna look scary, because that's all gonna look like all that shit that I don't want in my life. But it's not because it's here to stay, it's because it's clearing out. So I'm going into this process. The decision that I've made today, I know what's coming next, because I've been like kind of studying this and doing inner work and trying to fully get my head around reality and consciousness and the way that this life works since 2023, but most acutely this most recent, like, to where I've gotten to where I have, like, okay, I'm not only am I going to make this decision, which is monumental, I'm going to post it on YouTube. What kind of nut does that? What kind of freaking crackhead of a nut does that? The one who knows it's going to happen, even when everyone else, or at least most people, there are some people who believe, who have faith with me as well. But they're the minority, I would say. Most people would say, oh my gosh, yeah, you know, that it's good to have dreams, kid, but yeah, that's not how it is. How this reality works, if you're brave enough to do it. And I would like to encourage you to do it by, you know, watching what happens, watching my life. So I'm going to be posting videos every day, or at least try to post videos every day. I mean, maybe on the days where, because I'm not like going to just quit my job. I have, you know, guys, I have done that before. It was roughly a year ago, actually. I mean, because like I said, I've been struggling with nursing since 2018. I've been wanting desperately to leave nursing since 2018. However, as we've discussed, that's not been an option financially. So now it is, but I think that it's not wise to just, you know what, I quit. I'm not going to have a job. I don't think that makes any sense to do that. I'm going to continue, which I'm just in a contract. My contract is like for another 10 weeks. So I'm going to finish out this contract unless something happens to where I don't, whether that's I get fired or I feel an overwhelming internal intuition to put in a 2 weeks notice, which I don't right now, but if that were to occur, I would honor that. But you know, that's not what's happening. So until that happens, I'm going to keep this job. And by the way, you know, of all of the nursing jobs that I've had, this one has been the best by a long shot. So it's, whereas the almost all of the nursing jobs that I've had since 2018, I have wanted to quit every time that I go into work. It has been physically painful to go into work every time I go into work. It's not the case at this job. And that's the first time really since 2018 pretty much, except for maybe one other short job that I actually got fired from. But I'm not going to quit the job. But I'm going to start to allow my reality to begin to reflect at the speed of my conviction, my decision as a sovereign creator of my reality. Physically, spiritually, financially, in the ways that we have discussed, it's going to begin to reflect that. And I mean, it has to happen rapidly. I mean, that's a lot to happen in 6 months. So I am staying alert. I'm treating every moment as an opportunity. I'm tuning into the opportunities that exist in the ether, in the collective consciousness. That which, because they say we are only consciously aware of 12% of what is actually available to be aware of every day. The other 88% we completely filter out. So now I'm opening my mind to the full 100% as best as I can consciously. And I'm staying alert to opportunities in whatever form they may present themselves for me to make and receive money, and for this new reality to take form. I'm not trying to manipulate the way that happens. I'm allowing the higher intelligence to sort out those details. I'm just remaining an open beacon, an open receiver for those frequencies of opportunity, of abundance, of transformation. And all I'm doing is holding the vibe, holding that frequency of my decision, staying focused on my decision every single day, and not allowing the noise to interfere with that signal until it's like 100% signal and 0% noise. And the signal is always coming from within and not external. So that's it. I'm not going out and busting my ass and sweating and blood and tears. No. I'm simply holding that vision, holding that decision, holding that frequency of sovereignty, and not letting anything shake it, not letting anything rattle it. And if it does, consciously saying, oh, I see you, old programming, I see you, old fear, I see you, that that old perspective. That's okay. You've come up to the surface to be released, and I release you. I breathe you out because you have there's nowhere here for you now. Thank you for what you tried to give me safety when I was in survival mode, but I'm now in the mode of creator, in the mode of thriving, in the mode of abundance and sovereignty. So really there's no place for that here. So acknowledge it, not trying to fight it, not trying to reason with it, just acknowledging that feeling, that thought, letting it surface, and then letting it go. I expect to have to do that up to 1,000 times a day. Hopefully not, but I'm just saying, and I'm sure from the start it'll be the most I would think at the start, and then it maybe, but I don't, guys, this is the first time I'm doing this. This is what makes this so wild, is this is really the first time that I'm doing this, that I'm fully, because it's fully clicked in my mind what it takes to manifest. And that's what David Bayer says is a decision plus non-resistance, which is limiting beliefs old programming and fear. That's resistance. So decision, no, not decision, sorry. Desire plus non-resistance equals desired outcome. So a desire is the decision that you're making. I just, what all the things we've been talking about. I'm holding that desire and decision very definitively, very, specifically. And I'm just holding that vision. Every day I am going to, and I'll get all this on video, but I'm going to recite my vision every day, twice a day. And I am going to, begin to, within me and watching it happen around me, transform into that decision and let reality shift to that, reflect that internal decision and desire. And it's crazy how easy it actually is when you think about it, compared to what we were taught, which is you have to labor, you have to sweat, you have to grind, you have to suffer, you have to, give 110%, 28 hours a day, 400 days a year. Like, it's not that. You just have to and so watch. Just watch. Tune in, guys. Even if you're just here to make fun of me, which, whatever. I'm sure that had I watched this video in 2014, I'd be right there with you. I would be laughing my ass off at this clown on YouTube. I'd be right there with you. So it's, it's all where we're at in our journey. But I hope that the majority of folks watching this is resonating with, and you're thinking, whoa, these are thoughts that I've kind of had myself, or, this resonates. Like, I'm not really familiar with what you're saying, but for some reason it kind of makes sense, or it sounds interesting, or like I want to know more. I feel like this is kind of pulling at me for some reason. I hope that that's the majority of who's watching, and that my live example of documenting this process will encourage and inspire you to take the reins of your life, of your conscious experience and reality, and to be sovereign over it, maybe for the first time in your life. Whether you're 14 or whether you're 34 or 54 or 84, I don't care how old you are. It doesn't matter. That's not relevant. The point is, at any moment you have the opportunity to do this, and it's available to everyone. That's what makes it so fair, is it's available to everyone equally at no charge. We have the power within us to transform our lives. Entirely. 110%. So, stick with me. A lot more videos to come. I'm going to try and document daily. Fortunately, I just got Starlink because my current internet is beyond slow. And so I'll get the Starlink up and running here soon and be able to upload videos to YouTube, hopefully daily, if not every other day or so, to really take you through this process, deep dive, in depth, of like, I'll go through my thoughts as fears and old programs surface. I'll share them with you, and I'll say, this is this is a part of it. This is a part of the process. And like, you'll probably see me crying a lot. I'll probably be like, who knows? But it's a really unique opportunity to show this transformation in real time from, I'm not going to say rags, because I am blessed. I have a home, I have a property, I have a good job, but from a lifestyle that is not at all reflective of the life that I want and desire to be living, to that lifestyle really fast. And that's the part that makes it so convincing. So I'm glad you're here. Whatever your reason is for being here, I'm glad you're here, and I hope that you will transform your life, and that together we can transform this entire experience, this entire planet, this entire species, for the absolute good, and so that we can see a golden age beyond our wildest dreams of beautiful, of peace and love and unity, abundance. And we can do that. It starts just like this, with each individual saying, I'm taking back my sovereignty. I'm remembering who I am. I'm remembering that I am in control of my reality. And as we do that, the whole mirror of the collective begins to reflect that. Microcosm, macrocosm. So, I invite you to join me. I invite you to do this today with me, to think, to do what I'm doing, and to make a decision of what you want your life to look like. And don't dream small. Don't do it little. There are no limits to what we can achieve. So don't dream little. Dream big, and make a desire that resonates with you, that feels right. Hold that. Pursue it fully. And let's change the world by changing ourselves. So I'm glad you're here. Thank you for joining me. I hope that I can encourage you to go on this journey with me now. And if not now, then as you see my life transform in real time, that will be an encouragement for you. I would be lying if I didn't say that there's a little bit of terror deep down, because obviously this is huge. But again, I let that rise to the surface, and I say, I know old programming. I know that this looks scary to you. You can go. You're free now. Thank you for your old service. You're no longer needed. I've got this. All right. See you on the next one.